Donna. Welcome to my channel. You're watching this video because maybe you're already a subscriber, and you know I mentioned in my last video that I wanted to tell you guys about a really exciting trip that my husband and I took way before we had kids. Or maybe you're visiting my channel because you want to learn more about McNeil River. Maybe you've heard about it and you want to go out there, and I thought I would do a video just to kind of explain everything it takes to get out there and what to expect when you get there, because I haven't really seen many videos on YouTube that explain that, though they always show you the beautiful bears in the landscape that are at McNeil River. It's just so beautiful. So I thought it'd be nice to just kind of let you guys know how to do it. When we went, you know, I wasn't able to kind of click around on the internet and get much information. Our trip went very smooth though. The state of Alaska, who manages the area, they sent us plenty of information to help our trip, and it went great. So what I want to do is just include some old footage from some video that my husband recorded while we were there. I'll just kind of put that in as I'm talking here, and I also want to include some photographs. Now keep in mind, this was in 1997, so my husband had one of those really big, you know, camcorders that you would record directly to VHS tape. And so the footage is kind of neat because it's old and it's got that old look to it. If you're not familiar with the McNeil River Bear Sanctuary, it is an area in Alaska that has the highest concentration of brown bears in the world, and there are a lot of them. They are everywhere, and there are a lot of places in Alaska where you can go and do bear photography. They've popped up a lot, especially over the past, I guess, decade, just to kind of meet this demand, because when you go to McNeil River, it's only by lottery, and there's not a lot of people that can get selected to go out there. So there are other places in Alaska where you can photograph bears, but if you really want to be right in the midst of it, McNeil River is where you want to be. So I want to tell you how to get there. So I'll tell you what we did. First of all, we applied, and when you apply, I'll leave a link in the description area below so that you can check it out. Each person that applies needs to pay $25. That doesn't guarantee, obviously, that you're going to get a permit. If you are selected through the lottery system, and you will pay $350, and that will give you the 4-day viewing permit at the falls. There are some other permits that you can also apply for that are called standby. So let's say if some people that have permits don't want to go to the falls for some reason one day, then the people on standby can fill in for them. So that's another option. So if you are selected, number one, congratulations, and you are in for a treat of a lifetime. This is a trip my husband and I both agree was probably one of the best trips we've ever been on. We've traveled quite a bit, and this is right there at the top. So what we did is we flew into Anchorage, Alaska from the east coast of the United States. We flew out of Atlanta, Georgia. I think there's about a 4-hour time difference. So plan to get your rest up and to recover from the jet lag, because you want to make sure you're rested up by the time you get to base camp. Okay, so from Atlanta we flew into Anchorage, and there we rented a car that would hold a lot of luggage, because I think we took everything. You remember, this is a time period before you would have a lot of excess baggage fees when you flew. Right now you had to pay a fortune to take all of what we took, but we didn't take all that luggage just for the bear trip. We also did an inland trip when we got through with our trip to McNeil River. So I think there is a weight limit you can take on the planes that are going to take you out to McNeil River, but your pilot will let you know that, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So we drove down to Homer. It's a little town on the coast of Alaska, and I think it's about a 235-mile drive, and we stayed at a little hotel called Heritage Hotel, and I recommend it just, you know, for one night. It was nice. It's a cute little hotel. And then the next morning we flew over to McNeil River. Now you'll have to hire your pilot before you go to Alaska. You'll need to have all that lined up, and you can probably get a recommendation for a pilot from the state of Alaska when you get your permit. It seems like they recommended a few pilots, and that's how we found out well, which one we needed to hire, because they need to be familiar of how to get in and out of there, because there's the tide schedule. They have to kind of work around that, and then of course the weather, and so they need to be kind of experienced. Well, not kind of, they need to be experienced. Okay, so we flew out without any problems at all. You need to make sure you do that at least the day before you are going to hike out to the falls, before your permit day, your first permit day, because you're going to need to set up your camp and get all settled, for the trip out, the hike out to the falls the next morning. So once you're at base camp, you might, well, let's back up here for a minute, because when they land the plane, you might have to land in water, which we did. So you'll need to have your waders accessible and easy to get to. You'll need to have some kind of, wading pants that you can just get out and step into the water with no problem. You'll need those for later in the trip as well. Okay, so then you'll just go to base camp. I don't remember it being too far from where we landed. And then you can set up your tent. Base camp's a nice small little area. And so what we did as far as the tent is, I just took 2 tents that we already had instead of buying new equipment or anything like that. I had 2 small tents, and so I made one kind of like our bedroom. And I put a queen size air mattress in there. It was real comfortable. And then in the other tent is where I stored all of our gear. And both of those small tents had rain flies on them, but they weren't the best rain flies. So I also draped a big tarp over both of them, because it rains quite a bit in Alaska, and we did get rained on a little bit. It wasn't really bad rain, but we did get rained on. And so, and then I had 2 chairs. I'm really glad I brought the chairs, because it would give you somewhere where you can sit down and lean back. So everywhere we went, there was just benches. So it was nice to have the little chairs to kind of sit down in, and they were real small ones. They weren't the real big bulky ones, because we also took these chairs to the falls, which is a hike. You have to hike out to the falls. So if you go, a little chair with the back on it without arms, and maybe even an aluminum frame so that it's lightweight would be really good. Okay, so that is our tent. Now all the tents are just kind of spread out all over the little campground there, and we went the first week in August, so it was a really pretty time of year. There were all these little flowers blooming, these really pink, beautiful flowers. I think they call it fireweed. If I'm not mistaken, it's something that blooms as winter approaches. So as the season starts to cool down, you get these little beautiful flowers blooming everywhere, and the tents are just kind of nestled all in them, and the landscape all around the campground is just beautiful. It's just so beautiful. So at the campground, you'll also have a little area they have a little place they call the sauna. We didn't use it as a sauna, but it's basically somewhere where you can go, you can close the door, and you can splash water everywhere if you want to try to get cleaned up a little bit, because there's no running water. So all the water that you're going to use there's a little pond kind of there. You can use that to kind of clean up with, but you're not going to be feeling too good after about the 4th or 5th day, trust me. But at least you can go in there. I had a little camp shower, and I boiled a little bit of water so it was warm, and we were able to wash our hair and kind of get cleaned up after about the 2nd or 3rd day. Okay, so now you have the camp, it's called like the cooking shed, and this is where you'll cook all of your food. This is where you'll store your food, and so basically this is where everyone kind of meets. This is like the central location, and it's kind of a neat little place because it gives you a chance to meet everybody else that's going to be in the group. Everyone meets there in the morning to have their breakfast before the hike out. And then they all kind of get back in there after the hike of the day, and they make their dinner. And so you're able to talk about the excitement with other people there. And you will be one of 10 people that will be in the group. There's only 10 people allowed to walk out to the falls. And there's also, I think, about 3 other people at the base camp, but they are what are called on standby permits, which means if somebody from the main group didn't want to go, then they could kind of fill in for them. I think I already covered that earlier, but I wanted to stress that. So anyway, my husband took his little VHS recorder in there one afternoon after we had returned from the falls, late in the evening actually, and he just walked around and talked to everybody to see what they were cooking. So here's a little clip from there.
Rough day, huh?
I'll tell you, it was a great day. This is the best day.
Today was the best day.
All because of me. No.
All because of you.
I don't know what I did, but
Bring on the Cubs, she said. I thought he was from Chicago or something. What are you making, Gina?
I told you, nothing.
Nothing?
I'm getting bored with this kind of food. Hi. This isn't my shtick.
What are you having tonight, Rick?
Well, we're having freeze-dried hearty stew with maybe some corn. And if we don't want the corn, we'll have raspberry crumble.
Man, that's some gourmet food right there.
You could just pour it in your mouth now.
Hearty stew with beef.
What are you having tonight?
San Francisco treat.
Rice and roni.
Rice-a-roni.
All right.
And so basically what we ate, I've got to include what we had for food, right? I actually kept a little travel journal. That's why I'm able to remember so many details about the trip. But what I do remember was that I made a lot of spaghetti, because spaghetti noodles, you know, they're kind of dense and easy to pack. And then I took some spaghetti sauce and then some real dense kind of vegetables like onions and carrots, zucchini, nothing that would get too bruised, but would go a long way in our dishes. So we just made basically like vegetable spaghetti, and I had some Parmesan cheese that I brought with me. I brought a big crate of eggs, because you know, you can get those little camping egg crates that kind of protect the eggs, and eggs can stay out for a while without going bad. And it was pretty cold there, if I remember. I mean, I wore a jacket and long sleeves the whole time in August, so it wasn't, you know, hot or anything. What else did I eat? I ate some Cajun red beans and rice. We had that a couple of times, and I just chopped up some onion in there and put a can of chicken with it, so that was good. And I think we had rice-a-roni one night, or maybe we did, or I don't remember that part, but eggs for breakfast most of the time. And I think I would take tuna fish salad out to the falls with me for a snack, or for the lunch really, with crackers. So that's what we ate. So I always try to make sure that I have a backup for a backup of something that's really important, like 2 ways to filter water, 2 forms of light, and that kind of thing. You have to excuse the neighbors. They're cutting the grass right now. So anyway, continue on. Okay, so the next thing at the base camp are outhouses. Now, the outhouses are just beautiful. You know, everybody loves to use an outhouse, right? Well, these are also happen to be way out in a field, and so you'll want to make sure that if you're the kind of person that has to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you're not going to want to walk all the way out into that field to go to the outhouse. So plan something else. Do something else with that necessity. One night we had a little bear. Well, I don't know if he was little or not. We didn't see him, but he slept in the campground. So you don't want to go stumbling over some big brown bear in the middle of the night, right? I'll show you a clip from where he slept. It was just on the outside of the campground. So here it is.
Here's where a bear dug a deep hole that's been covered up and decided to rest right
Sleep there and use the restroom there.
And he used the restroom there. Right here in our backyard.
Okay, and then finally with the base camp, it's a very short trail to the beach area, and the beach area is just so pretty. You know, the sun really never sets in Alaska in the summer, so it's always a little bit daylight. And I'll show you a picture of how it looks at midnight. I took a picture of my husband sleeping in the tent at midnight. And so the beach is nice because after you've eaten your dinner and everything, you can go down there and sit, and there are usually bears out there walking around on what they call the mud flats or the tidal flats, and it's kind of like a twilight, you know, pink color. One night we had a full moon. It was just really pretty. There's a volcano in the distance, and so there's a lot of photographic opportunities there too, and sometimes the bears will come up. I mean, they get pretty close, so even if you're on standby, you can still take some pictures of bears, but it's nothing compared to the falls. So don't think if you're going to go on standby, you're going to see what you'll be able to see if you go to the falls. So let's talk about the falls. This is the fun part. So in the morning, you go ahead and get your breakfast at the little cooking shack, and you'll all meet out front and gather there, and there will be one person that will take you out. That there's usually like 2 people kind of in charge of the area, so one person will take you out, and they will have a gun for protection. So you'll hike just a little trail, and it's a nice walk, it seems like most of the time I remember it being very nice. You can walk through the flowers that were blooming, but there is a part of the trail, and I don't remember it being too long, but you'll have to hike through mud flats and puddles. So be prepared for that. Make sure that you wear your waders. My husband actually got stuck a little bit because he was so weighted down with the chairs and the big camcorder, you know. But just you'll want to make sure you kind of make sure everything is watertight, or, you know, protected in case you have a fall through the puddle or something like that. So I don't remember it being too strenuous or anything. I think it was like 2.5 miles one way. I don't know. I'm sure that you can find that detail out before your hike. And then, so you may also run into bears on your hike. So obviously they're going to get the right of way. So be prepared for a little delay in your hike to watch the bears on the trail. They're everywhere. Like I said, they're everywhere. And then you'll finally reach the falls, and it is just breathtaking. It's just beautiful. The bears are everywhere, and you have to just stand on one little platform. It's just one little viewing area, and it just seems like the time just flies by. You're just like have this huge adrenaline rush, you know, and you're taking pictures the whole time, and it's just beautiful. All the bears are doing something different. You have huge bears that have been there probably forever, and then you have the younger bears that are playing, and then you have older bears that are fighting. They're all trying to eat all this fish. They could care less about humans. As a matter of fact, these are the same bears that visit the falls year after year. Their mothers have taught them how to catch fish at these falls, and so it's just they're used to seeing that little platform where you're standing. They're used to seeing humans there, so you're still in the wild, and it is very serious. It's not a zoo or something like that, but they will brief you on all of the safety measures to take when you're going to the falls. So listen to them closely, because one time, I was leaning over to get into my camera bag, and these bears, they'll come up, and sometimes they'll sit in the platform with you. There's a video on YouTube where the bear just came up and sat down right in the viewing area. But anyway, so I'm reaching in my camera bag, and I looked up, and then there's this bear sitting there staring right at me. His head is like 3 feet from mine, and I did not expect to see him there. There's nothing that even clued me in he was there, and I just screamed out, "Oh my God!" And then I think my husband said, "Calm down, you're not supposed to do that. That's one of the rules." And so I regained my composure pretty quick, and it just startled me. I guess I'm just a normal person. I mean, that would startle most people, I think. But just try to be prepared for those kind of unexpected encounters, because if you startle them, it could be an unsafe situation. But I'm not really the person to tell you about it, but the person that's going to take you out will tell you all of the rules. Okay? One night, we were about to head out. It was like 6:30 in the evening, and we'd all really been wanting to see a sow with cubs, because that's kind of the precious shot that you've been waiting on, and it couldn't have happened at a more perfect time. The lighting was perfect. It was, like I said, around 6:30, and here she came over the little hill right behind the little viewing area, and she had her 2 cubs with her, and she was just glowing in the sun, and it was just beautiful. And she walked down the hill, and probably within about 5 feet of the viewing area. And of course, she's looking around the whole time for other bears that might attack her cubs. They have to be real careful, because I think the males will try to eat the cubs. So I actually saw another sow and her 3 cubs visit the falls on another time, and she had actually fight off a bear so I caught some of that with my pictures, but I don't think my husband got it on a VHS. But at any rate, it's kind of fun. That's what I'm saying, is just to watch all that different bear activity. And they have, you know, the people that run this little area, they've named all of these bears. They know which bear is which, because the bears have been visiting the same area year after year. And then the cubs have been visiting it year after year, so they've just kind of are used to going out there. And I think they've said at one time they counted up to 74 bears in this one area. So that's a lot of bears. Now, don't count on every day being sunny. As I already mentioned, you may get some rain. I packed a rain jacket and rain pants to keep me dry. So anyway, everything was just beautiful, and I hope you guys can give it a try, because I would totally do it again, and I might even at some point. But one thing I also want to add is that when you pack, make sure that you pack enough extra food and clothing in case you can't leave on the day of your departure, because sometimes the pilots cannot get in there to get you out, and you might be delayed a day or two. We had another couple there with a little 11 or 12-year-old boy, and I think they were on standby, but they couldn't fly out the day they wanted to, so they had to fly back with us, and it was because of fog. So you just never know. Okay, so make sure you plan for that. And so anyway, I hope that if you're interested in going to McNeil River, that when you apply that you are awarded a permit, because it's so much fun. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'll certainly be more than happy to try to help you. Like I said, there's going to be a link down there where you can find out all the information you need to know to go. And thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.